Now, by all measures that I know of, this has been one of the hardest years in the lives of many teachers with whom I have the pleasure of interacting. Like, we all thought that during COVID-19, that would be the most exacting trial of our professional lives, but as exhausting and as difficult as that year was, this year has been, rough. Now, maybe that's not you. Maybe this has been the best year of your career and everything has been puppies and rainbows. And if that's the case, then God bless you. You don't need any help from me. But some of us have been discouraged to find that teacher bashing has become one of America's favorite pastimes. Like, teachers used to be that group of people upon whom we hung our great hopes for the future flourishing of our nation, but today teachers have become the scapegoat onto which our culture imputes some of our nation's most grievous sins and shortcomings. And let me hasten to remind you that in the Old Testament, the scapegoat was the animal who, after being imputed with the sins of the community, was summarily sacrificed. And from what I can tell, some of you feel like that's exactly what's happening right now. Now, I don't pretend to know all the ways that we got here, and I'm even more ignorant when it comes to solutions to rectify it, but in this video, I want to do what far too few people in our crazed nation are doing right now, namely to remind you how valuable you are. Now, I've been rereading that magnificent book on the inner life of the teacher by Parker Palmer called The Courage to Teach. And this whole book seeks to expose and unravel a very simple truth. We teach who we are. In other words, what happens in the classroom is the overflow of who we are. Like, no matter how expertly we execute our methodology or our pedagogical commitments, there is no hiding. We teach who we are. And if that's true, the very worst thing we could do to teachers as a nation is to further damage morale among them. If it's true that we teach who we are, then teachers will surely be tempted to ingest the idea that they are of little worth to our society, and then they will go on to teach our children out of that posture, and things will only go from bad to worse. And it astonishes me how few people understand this. But that has not been my experience with the teachers that I know. And because of my work here on YouTube, I've had the occasion to know more teachers than your average bear. The teachers I know are some of the best human beings imaginable. They've been romanced by the great ideas of our world, and emerging from the bright light of that glorious encounter, they are ravenous to find a group of students with whom they could share such glory, because teachers know this by instinct, that joy experienced is only half a joy. It is only completed when we find another with whom we can share it. And despite all the burdens of educational mandates and administrative requirements and cultural bickering that have threatened to snuff out that joy, yet in the teachers with whom I interact, it remains. And sometimes it's buried deep within, but always undiluted in its power and its purity. And whatever anyone else in this world says, that makes you the kind of person that I want teaching my children. We teach who we are. What comes out in the classroom is the overflow of how we understand and live into our identity. And so I want you to remember, as we go into the holidays and you have the occasion to rest from your work, I want you to remember this. You have chosen a noble vocation, and when you show up to that classroom, it means more to those students than they will ever be able to articulate. In Palmer's book, he recounts this old Hasidic proverb, and it goes like this. We need a coat with two pockets. In one pocket there is dust, in the other pocket there is gold. We need a coat with two pockets to remind us who we are. And so as you end the semester and enter your well-deserved rest, may you wear a coat with two pockets to remind you who you are. Yes, you are made of dust just like I am, and that dust can be weak and feeble, but you are also made of gold, brilliant as the sun and exceedingly precious in value. And even if no one else in the world sees the way you shine, there's at least one bald, bearded, gap-toothed man who does, and that makes you marvelous in my sight.